Hello, friends. Julie Middleton here from Julie Middleton Movement and Wellness. Today, I wanted to offer you something I would call a bed day practice. So, as a person in a body that is living through with autoimmune conditions, chronic viral conditions, perimenopause, and just living with having a human body that has ebbs and flows of energy, symptoms, pain, etc. I wanted to offer a super gentle little movement practice. I often do these sorts of practices when I'm in a migraine or a pain flare, an autoimmune condition flare, where I am typically in bed or on the couch and or mostly lying down. So today's practice is going to be lying down for the most part. I may add the option to sit up a little bit later, but I think today we're going to keep it super gentle, super nourishing, supine, lying down. This can be done on a floor. It can be done on a bed. You could do it on a couch as long as you have the ability to do a little bit of movement, like we may be putting our arms out from side to side. But that everything I say is an invitation only. And so if you're not up for one of the moves or practices that I offer today, feel free to stick with something that felt good before or come up with something that is modified a bit to meet your unique needs today. This is your practice. I'm just here to invite and to give you some inspirations, ideas, and to hopefully help create an intentional space where we can listen to and honor our physical selves as well as our mental, emotional, and spiritual selves. So it's a whole being practice for those days when maybe we just don't feel good, whether that's because you have a cold or a flu, an illness, it's PMS, or maybe you're in the middle of a menstrual flow, or you have an injury, a surgery. There's so many reasons why we may need or just want something that's extra gentle, super gentle and nourishing. So let's get started. I'm going to lie down and hopefully the mic will um, do its job here. Okay. So I would encourage you to find a laying down position that feels supported for you. So I'm going to see how I feel with just my pillow here, but I'm going to have extra pillows. I always have this little pile of like pillows and cushions and blankets next to my bed, um, so that I can grab them as much as I want when I want. You can also see I've got like my heating pad here. A lot of these movements can be done with a heating pad over your body. If you want to have a blanket, please feel free. I'm going to do it blanketless just so that you can see what I'm doing a little bit more clearly. But please get as cozy and supported as you wish. So if you want to be fully flat or at like an incline, we're just going to start with a little bit of breath. Oh, and yes, a breath practice fully counts as a movement practice. Even when we're lying here completely still, our body is moving. With each inhale, with each exhale, with each heartbeat, there's so much movement happening. When we're in pain, it's super common and normal to kind of have stories that rise up, stories that we've been told around why we might be experiencing this pain, stories we've been told or just tell ourselves around our value as a whole person when we're having a bed day. not saying bad, I'm saying bed. So bed. For those times when you don't feel well, when we're not able to meet life at a go, go, go pace, it can be easy to have some loud stories come up. If that's happening for you right now, I want you to know that's normal. I would invite you to just kind of notice them. If you're able to engage with them, to move towards those stories with some curiosity, some compassion, feel free to do so. Sometimes when I'm in bed day mode, I just am not really able to engage with those stories yet. And so you can just notice them. Just be like, oh, okay. I'm feeling like I'm failing my family right now. Or how can I show up as a movement professional when I need so much time laying down in bed? These are some examples from my own brain. So we're just kind of breathing here. We're not controlling anything, not even really noticing anything. Not yet. Just breathing and maybe noticing the stories, the feelings, if that feels okay for you right now. Couple more breaths. I invite you to see if you can slow down your inhales and your exhales. If you want to count, I would invite you to maybe start with inhaling for 3 or 4 seconds, allowing yourself to pause at the end of your inhale, and then exhaling for 4 or 5 seconds so that your exhale is just a little longer than your inhale. And again, pausing for a couple seconds at the end, allowing yourself to breathe. Some imagery I like to imagine is waves crashing forward onto the shore and then being pulled back into the ocean over and over and over. I grew up in Oregon on the west coast of the United States, and the ocean has always been one of my favorite wild spaces. Another option I love is imagining the wind moving through trees. So that could be just in your backyard or porch or in the mountains. If there's a favorite tree in your life, I have many tree friends. If there's a favorite tree in your life, maybe imagine yourself as the tree and your breath as the wind. So it's less you're doing the breathing here, and the breath is just moving through you. You're being breathed. If it feels good, I invite you to notice, where is there movement during your inhales? Starting there. Is it in your upper rib cage towards like your collarbone? Is it in your belly? Is it a full torso, abdomen, rib cage, the whole thing experience? In your lower ribs, is it mostly up and down, like towards the ceiling in your bed? Or is there any movement from side to side, like towards the walls? Is it both? Just noticing what's happening in your body on your inhales. Allowing your breaths to be as long and as deep as feels comfortable for you right now. when we're in pain, it's really common for our breaths to become short. And oftentimes it can end up getting focused into the very top of our rib cage, up towards our collarbones and our shoulders. I invite you to notice if that's happening. That's common with a stress response and a pain response in the body. Just kind of getting curious, not forcing any change here. Sometimes we just, the action of noticing and saying, oh, hey, love, whatever word you would like to use for your own self here. I like little love or love. Some people enjoy sweetheart. Some people have a nickname for themselves. Something kind, something curious. A little term of endearment for yourself, like you would use for a friend or a child. Someone kind that you love. I can feel my whole nervous system just starting to down regulate a bit. Let's see here. After you've kind of done some noticing on your inhales, let's notice your exhales. When you exhale, is your body trying to muscle it? Or are you able to allow that breath to just let the air flow from your body as your abdomen and your rib cage naturally soften and fall? Softening your face here, your jaw. Maybe adjusting your position a little bit as you find more ease. If you need more cushion, feel free to add more pillows. If you need less cushion, please feel free to adjust at any time. Your eyes can be closed here, they can be open. But just inviting yourself to have soft eyes, whether they're closed or open. On your exhale, where does that exhale begin for you? Does it begin in your rib cage with kind of a muscled rib cage being pulled back into kind of a tighter, closed position? Or does it happen throughout your abdomen? Is your upper abdomen, your upper belly? Is your lower belly down between like your ASIS, sticky, outy hip bones of your hips, pelvis? Does it travel? Does your exhale travel from down near your pelvis upward? Or does it travel more from your rib cage and then downward? Just kind of getting curious. Where is that motion happening? Where is it starting? Does it feel like it's being muscled? I invite you to see if you can just keep this soft. We're just laying down, so we don't have to be doing big breaths here. That being said, if a nice big like wake up type breath, like a almost a yawn, feels good for you, do that. Follow the lead of your body. Oftentimes a yawn can be a sign that our nervous system is calming down from an activated state. And when we're in pain, anything we can do to help our bodies and our whole selves feel a bit more safe, a bit more supported, heard, cared for, nourished, can really help the experience of that pain, of that discomfort, of that flare, of that illness, that migraine. A couple more breaths, and then we're going to just start to see if we're able to bring a little bit of movement to our body. So almost if you've done like a yoga class and you do a savasana, and at the end of the class, they start to say, let's bring yourselves back into our bodies. We're kind of doing that here. And so let's see, like maybe for you, it really is just starting with your toes and your fingers a little bit. This can be as small as you want. So you like one toe at a time. It can be all of your toes, like wide, 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 and then squish, 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 squish. And maybe your hands, like you can keep them on your body if that feels good, or you can bring them up into the air, stretching your hands nice and wide, as far apart as you can, maybe playing an imaginary piano in the air. I like to stretch my fingers wide and straight and then curl them in joint by joint into a fist. And then opening up the opposite. So it's joint by joint. Remembering to breathe, not holding our breath, not controlling our breath here. But we're not holding it. We're just allowing that breath to move through us. Maybe seeing if moving in a little bit into our ankles and our wrists feels supportive. You can kind of dance this. I like to do like little figure eights with my feet and my hands, and you can do them one at a time. You can do all together. You may notice that that movement is traveling up your arm a little bit towards your elbows. You may notice that with your feet doing a little figure eight, that you're experiencing a little bit of movement all the way up through your leg into your hips a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put my hands down and place them right on the crease of my hips so that there's just a little bit of heat and contact. I'll quiet my feet down and let them just kind of flap where they want to flap. And I'm going to play with a little bit of internal and external rotation of my hips. So for this one, I'm going to start with just my right leg first. I'm going to go ahead and kind of turn that whole right leg. And this is a small motion, as you can see, if you see it in my body, internal. So I'll let really driving this small movement from the hip, not just our feet, not just our knees, our legs, our knees and our feet will come along for the ride. Seeing if you can allow that hip to internally rotate and then open up into external rotation. So your knee is going to be looking out to the right now. Your feet are going to flop out. Your foot's going to flop out to the right and then back through. Only going as far as is comfortable for your body, keeping your pelvis quiet here. Really seeing if you can just gently bring movement into that hip joint. Noticing if you're holding your breath. Noticing if you're clenching your jaw, if your shoulders are tense, just kind of allow them to roll back and down. Soften into the bed. Soft eyes, soft face. Allowing that air to move through your body. Couple more rotation, just kind of windshield wipering that leg, led by the hip on the right leg. This can be as quick and as slow as you like. When I'm in a pain flare, though, slow is always better for my body. But if your nervous system is like, I need a little bit of motion, you can speed it up. That's absolutely beautiful. And then when that feels complete, go ahead and make it smaller and slower until you find stillness in that hip. Let's move to the left side. Starting with that gentle internal rotation, the external rotation. You can sync this with your breath if that helps you keep it more slow. Imagining maybe you're moving through like molasses or maple syrup or something nice and thick, honey, something like that, to help you have a little bit of internal resistance, waking up your hip muscles, your hip flexors, even the tops of your thigh muscles and your glutes a little bit as you move through internal and external rotation on the left hip. You may find that this starts to release some tension in your back. maybe even your abdomen, perhaps even your knees, your feet, your legs. Our whole body is super connected. Our hip flexors, our psoas, which is deep from it connected from like the diaphragm up way up here, your rib cage, all the way down into like your inner thighs. And so as we do these internal and external rotations, those muscles get some love, they get some activity, they get some release, they get some mobility and strength. Even these small motions, when they're done with intention, curiosity, and kindness, can really help us to maintain strength and mobility. And our psoas muscle is also known as the fight or flight muscle. It's deeply impacted by our nervous system responses when we're in a highly activated nervous system state. So sometimes when our nervous system is active, we may find that we have discomfort in like the hips, the glutes, the back, the abdomen, diaphragm, digestive disruption. So it's a fun two-way street when we bring some movement to our psoas, to our hips, to our pelvis, the whole area. It can help to calm the nervous system. And also when we are intentional about calming the nervous system, bringing more adaptability to our nervous system, it can help to create less tension and more adaptability in those muscles as well. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and you can speed that up or keep it slow. I'm just gonna speed it up so that I'm kind of balanced a little bit from side to side here. And I'm gonna allow that when it feels complete to kind of get smaller and find some quiet. For this next one, I do a little bit of super small shoulder movement. So let's start by placing our hand. I'm going to invite you to just place your hands down by your side. You can have your palms facing down to start. Take a breath. Just kind of noticing, is there more tension on one side than the other? Our shoulders have such a big impact on so much, including thoracic mobility in our spine and our rib cage. Experiences of neck tension or ease. Okay. So we're going to start by just one at a time, flipping our hands over. So right hand, let's flip our palm to face the ceiling, allowing our arm to follow along. And we're going to do the left. So left arm, flip over, face the ceiling. And we're just going to flip it back over. And we're going to do it just real gentle, real small, starting super soft. And if this feels like enough for you, that's totally valid, and you can stay here. I'm gonna do it one more time. There we go. And palms facing back down. All right, so for the next one, I'm going to bring my right arm a little bit further away from my body. Well, I'm on a twin size bed, so my arm is going to hang a little bit off the bed. And if you're just on like a bigger bed, that's totally fine. It's perhaps even easier to have it so that your full arm is supported. We're going to see if we can change the motion here of our shoulder by starting the rotation in our shoulder instead of our hand. Okay, so we're going to keep our hand facing down. We're going to see if we can drive this motion by really rolling that shoulder, rolling that right bicep up towards the ceiling and allowing our elbow and then our forearm and our hand to follow. This can be really challenging if it's not something you've done before. So if it feels like too much, go ahead and just go back to what we were doing before. And then we're going to see how that feels with our shoulder blade. So for me, when I'm doing this driven by my shoulder, I notice my right shoulder blade comes a little closer to my spine, but it's also rolled down. So like the little wing tip of my shoulder blade will go, you can kind of look if you can see here, your screen. So we got the little wingtips of our shoulder blades are kind of doing this. And so as I roll through my shoulder, it's going to do this. So it will widen the space between my upper shoulder blade and like my neck, creating more space while narrowing that space between the wingtips on my shoulder blades. Okay. So to reverse it, this can be tricky lying down, but let's just kind of play with it, see what happens. See if you can start it again through the shoulder. And in doing this, seeing if you can keep that shoulder from raising up towards your ear. Nice. Down. Ooh, I'm even feeling the stretch of my forearm today. And you're going to allow your palm to maybe go past flat here so that your thumb will face down towards the floor or your bed, only going as far as feels comfortable for you. And we're going to do it again. So imagine you're holding, I don't know, like a bowl of soup in your hand. And we're going to try to spill that soup backwards, our thumb towards the ground or pinky up to the ceiling. And then we're going to drive through the shoulder, allowing the rest of the arm to follow along. And then we're going to spill that soup forwards. I'm definitely noticing that my abdomen is trying to like brace and clench here. So I'm trying to keep the rest of my body soft and quiet. My butt, my glutes are clenching, trying to come along for the ride and do it for me. So seeing if I can relax all that, just noticing what's happening. Breathing. Maybe trying to like reach out a little bit further to the side of that arm. You can bring your arm up a little further. So it's almost like your arms would be in a T if you had both arms out. Just one or two more times here. Play with whatever position feels good for you. If you're feeling any pinchy or nervy sensations, maybe bring the arm a bit closer to your body again, maybe not extended so far. Maybe bring it a bit closer down towards your side. Just kind of play with the position that feels good in your body. We don't want any nervy or pinchy positions. So let's go ahead and relax that right arm back down. I'm going to give myself just a little shake on my bed, wiggle, wiggle, remind my glutes, my abdomen that it can stay quiet, just relax any energy that was building up there. Okay, so I'm going to start with my left arm now, probably at like a 45-degree angle or so. Not like at T distance for me yet. That definitely gives me some nervy sensations today. And your sensations may be different from arm to arm, totally normal. So, okay, once you find a good position to start here, seeing if you can roll that left shoulder, that left bicep up towards your head, allowing your elbow and your hand to follow along, spilling that bowl of soup towards your head, that back wall, and then reversing, starting the movement in your shoulder. Ooh, my left arm is having a harder time. Spilling that soup forward. Just keeping your elbows soft if you tend to lock your elbows or be hypermobile like me. You may need to bend that elbow just a tiny bit. And then seeing if you can reach away from your body just a tiny bit, like you're trying to grab something just out of your reach. But if there's any nervy sensations, pull back a bit. And then we're going to follow. Yep, we're just going to reverse that. Syncing with your breath. You can bring your arm up closer to a T position if that feels good. A couple more times. Oh. You might find that spilling your soup forward or back has a stronger sensation of tightness or stretch. Again, anything that feels pinchy or nervy, like numb, pull back and adjust for your body. that's not a good spot for you at this point in time. And these things can change, sometimes even from the beginning of practicing a move to the end of practicing a move, you may notice a difference. So, noticing maybe if there's a story that comes up for you, if you feel any pinchy or nerviness, is there a story that comes up of, oh gosh, I should never do this ever again? Or is it more like, oh, right now that's happening, so let's adjust? The stories that we tell ourselves that have been told to us about our experiences can have a huge impact on our experience of pain and ease as we move through life. When you're ready, go ahead and bring your arms back. And we're almost done here. We're just going to see if we can bring a little bit more movement to our spine with a gentle twist. If that feels like too much, please feel free to stay here. You can go back to, the internal external rotation of the hips. You could maybe just cross your arm over your chest to get a nice stretch, or across the back of your arms and your shoulders. Anything that sounds like it's a good fit, you could roll your head to the left, the right, tucking your chin down, allowing for some stretch there in the back of your neck. Just a few options. All right, so let's go ahead and bring our knees into a nice bent position here. So our feet are flat on the bed, our knees are bent. We're going to lead. We're just going to gently allow our legs to go over to the left, keeping our rib cage nice and grounded to whatever's beneath us. So that's our bed, the couch. The right side of the rib cage may come up off the bed or something a little bit, but we're really not trying to do like a really big stretch here yet. Just kind of letting those legs flap a bit over to the left. Again, slowly and with control. Bring it back to the center and then to the right. I like to sync this with my breath, and I personally like to exhale as I move over to the side. Inhale as I come up to the center. Exhale over to the side. Keeping my breaths easeful. You can let your breaths make noise here. Again, you can use whatever imagery you prefer, whether it's the wind through the trees or the waves, or no imagery. You're just imagining your rib cage. Sometimes visualizing what's happening in our body can feel good. So just a couple more, gentle, like we're moving through molasses. Windshield wipering our legs to the right and the left. I'm going to invite you to bring just a little bit more muscle activation to the next few. And we're going to do that. So as we allow our legs to go over to the right side, we're going to push that left heel, that left foot into the bed or the floor, whatever's beneath us, and see if we can drive this flopping over by allowing that left side of our pelvis to be pushed up and over. So it's going to deepen the activation of our glutes, our thighs. You may even feel it in your lower back a little bit. If this is feeling like too much, that's okay. You don't have to do it. Move back to center. And as we move our knees to the left, we do that by driving that right foot straight down into the bed or the floor. Lifting that right side of the pelvis and allowing our knees to flap over. They're following along for the ride instead of leading the twist this time. Coming up as we soften that pressure into the floor, just kind of flow back and forth. So we're pushing into the bed to start that pelvis lift on the one side. You may notice that your knee kind of drives forward a little bit on the pushing leg. So for me right now, that would be my right leg. So that knee drives away from my body a little bit. Just a couple more. Bring a little bit of a flowiness, a danciness to this. Let's do one more to each side. Go ahead. Bring your legs to being quiet. Maybe do a couple pelvic tucks. So bringing the pubic bone towards your belly button, or imagining your tailbone pointing up towards like the corner where your wall and ceiling meet. And then allowing your pelvis to tilt a bit. So your tailbone's going to drive down into the bed or the couch or the floor here. The pubic bone's going to go further away from your belly button. And let's just kind of move through that tuck and tilt. Feel free to sync with your breath here. I personally like to inhale on the tilt and exhale on the tuck. So I really find that starting the exhale deep down near my pubic bone and allowing that to travel up through my abdomen and my rib cage helps me to prevent from bulging or bearing down into my pelvic floor or bracing, pushing out in my abdomen. Just allows me to engage my core differently and in a way that is supportive for me. Couple more tucks and tilts. Keeping the rest of your body kind of quiet, but allowing movement to happen where it needs to happen. So you may notice your rib cage moving a little bit. You may notice a little bit of movement in like your chin, the back of your head. I always get a nice massage on the base of my skull here. Which when I have a migraine feels amazing. Okay, we're going to go ahead and come back to a more neutral pelvis. So that's where the front of your sticky outy ASIS hip bones and your pubic bone are somewhat level. So if you have your hands like the, oh boy, my brain. This has been too relaxing for me. The base of your hand on your ASIS sticky outy bones, and then like your long middle fingers kind of reaching down towards your pubic bone, seeing if your hands are flat or if like your middle fingers are up towards the ceiling more, or your like wrist area is more up towards the ceiling, if they could be flat. So seeing if you can find that neutral without forcing it. Okay, we're going to end with a little bit more breath. So taking what you learned from the beginning of this class, if there were any areas where there just wasn't much movement, let's see if we can encourage a little more movement there. So if you found that your breath was really up towards your clavicle and your shoulders and your upper rib cage, let's see if we can put a hand there and say it's okay. You can be calm. And then put a hand on your lower rib cage. Maybe rubbing it, scratching it, tapping it, whatever feels good for you to kind of just wake up that part of your body. See if you can bring your focus to that lower part of your rib cage. And on your inhale, seeing if you can bring more movement to that part of your rib cage without force. while keeping your upper rib cage a little more quiet. It's still going to move, but seeing if it can be a bit more quiet and just come along for the ride instead of being the driver. And then on our exhale, let's see if we can begin our exhale deep down into our lower abdomen. So that's going to be like the triangle between your ASIS hip bones and your pubic bone. So starting that inhale here in those lower ribs, allowing your upper rib cage and your belly to come along for the ride. And on your exhale, starting deep near the lower abdomen. And allowing the rest to just kind of softly fall with as your breath leaves your body. If this is feeling like too much, just breathe normally. Don't even worry about it. See if you can notice the lower rib cage and your back making contact with what's beneath you. So your bed, the floor, the couch. See if you notice on your inhale that contact becoming more intense. And then as you exhale, it's a little less intense. So there'll be a little more pressure in your inhale. Little less on your exhale. This is a pretty small shift just because of the structure of our bodies. Seeing if you're able to find ease with the lower part of your rib cage, starting your inhales, starting your inhales, and starting your exhales deep in the lower abdomen, and then letting your body exhale that air as it travels up, 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 up through your abdomen and your lower rib cage and your upper rib cage. Just do a couple more intentional breaths that way. One more. Go ahead and breathe normally. Invite you to take a moment. Just kind of notice what's happening for you. Maybe the pain hasn't shifted. Maybe you're still real uncomfortable. That's okay. But are you able to engage with that pain differently? Be able to soften around it. Maybe soften the edges just a tiny bit, even for a little bit. The relationship to pain is such an important one to explore. I would invite you to do that when you're able and ready. When you're in the midst of a flare, that may not be the time to do that. Just a couple more natural breaths here. And if you want to settle into just kind of being rested, restful here, that's great. If you feel like you want to maybe try to sit up, I invite you to do that. Just going to lead us through one more practice to bring a little bit of motion here. And then you can decide where you want to go with that. If you want to get up and try to be active, take a bath or a shower, go get yourself something to eat, go for a walk, or if you just want to use it to release any energy so that you can feel more supported as you continue to rest in bed or on the couch or wherever you're at. So this is kind of a gentle shaking practice. It's super great for the nervous system. I'm going to give you two versions. So one is basically very similar to the internal external rotation that we did with our hips. So you can place your hands crease of your hips if you wish, or keep them on your chest or your belly or at your side, whatever feels supportive for you right now. I'm going to put mine on the crease of my hips because the feedback of that warmth from my hands feels very supportive right now. So for this, we're just going to windshield wiper our legs to the right and the left, right, left. You can adjust the width of your legs here to whatever feels comfortable for you. And then if it's creating tension, to do both feet to the right, both feet to the left. You can do this where you do feet in, out, in, out. You just want to go at a pace that feels good for you. So for me, I'm doing the in, out, not the right, left right now. So find a speed that feels good for you. You may feel a little bit of sensation in your hips and your psoas. We're keeping the rest of our body floppy and soft and quiet like a cooked noodle. We're really leading any movement here from the movement of our feet going in and out. So our leg movement, our hip movement is going to be pretty small here. When we do rocking and shaking movements like this, it can help to release energy from our bodies, help to calm our nervous system, help our nervous system be able to be more resilient and adaptive over time. And then when that feels complete, slow it down, make it smaller, and do what feels good for you. Yeah, my legs now feel like cooked too. Super floppy. So the other option I'm going to give you is led by pointing and flexing of our feet with a deep contact of our heels into what's beneath us, the floor, the bed. The rest of our body is like a cooked noodle, nice and floppy. So there will be movement that travels up our body here, but it's only coming along for the ride. So our glutes are relaxed, our abdomen's relaxed. You may have some rocking of your head a little bit. A little massage on the base of the skull again, if you've got a pillow under your head. If this is feeling like too much work for like your calves or your shins or whatever, maybe go back to the other option. You can make it smaller. Just slow it down. I'm ready to be done. So do that as long as you wish. Bring it to stillness. It feels good for you to maybe take a moment and thank yourself for showing up for yourself in this moment today. Feels safe and supportive. Take a moment to thank your body for all the work that it's doing to keep you alive, even in the midst of discomfort and pain, illness, stress. Sometimes that sort of thank you, that sort of gratitude is accessible, and sometimes it is not, especially when in a pain flare. So maybe you're more in a place of feeling frustrated, angry, or needing a little bit of a tantrum. And you know what? I'm here to say that's valid. That's okay. You can say, I hear you. This is hard. This hurts. See if you're able to engage with that like you would a friend who comes to you with pain or life. Say, oh, love, I'm sorry you're in pain. I'm here with you. I'm here to give you what you need. Whether that's a hug, whether it's a bath, whether it's a dark room with a cold pack and streaming a favorite show until the pain passes. I'm here. Okay. Well, I'm ready for a nap. I hope that was supportive for you. If this was helpful for you, if you have any questions, if you have any requests for future practices, please feel free to comment, let me know. Feel free to go to my website, juliemiddletonmovementandwellness.com. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram, J Middleton Movement and Wellness. You can call me. You can find all my contact information on my website. If you want to join me for a class or do a one-on-one movement assessment session or even a one-on-one movement class, I do those as well. You can find all that information on my website too. I hope this was supportive. Sending peace. I'm sending love. Until next time.